In the last 3 years, we have done 70 Will It Runs.
And this week, we are going to take a look back at our favorites and tell you untold stories that you've never heard before. We're also going to tell you our thoughts, what we would do differently, and what happened to the vehicle. If you like classic cars and Will It Runs, this is an episode you don't want to miss.
So this video we call Humble Beginnings. If you look at like my mannerisms in this video, I'm very robotic. Time to get the truck started.
Take a look.
It's not stuck. Cleaning out the truck. I bought it. Today is the fire it up day. I'm gonna pull a plug and see what it looks like. Not a good sign. Doesn't make me too excited. Now it's time to try to get this thing running. So one of the issues we have trying to get this thing going is there's no key. So I've got to get the old ignition switch out.
You broke the screwdriver.
So as you can see, I had to get out the big guns and just keep on drilling. It made a mess, stuff flying everywhere. But there's the switch. I don't know if this is going to conduct at all. That is just so bad. So bad. It's definitely the worst cable I've ever seen. Okay, 20 years. This thing hasn't run. Now is the time for us to try it. All right, we're going to give it a try. Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, we're going to try to jump the solenoid. Awesome.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
You seem so surprised.
Okay, good deal. So we get spark. I can't believe that one. Really can't. It's got to cycle through this long hose, so it's letting some air through. Always have a fire extinguisher handy when you do this.
Wait a minute, where's ours?
It's right there.
Where? Exciting.
Yep. Yep, super exciting. Wow. Man, it sounds great.
What do you do now?
So I smelled essentially burning leaves. And I've got burning leaves. We're both pretty excited about this thing.
Okay, so you saw that. That was one of our very first Will It Runs. And when I look back on that now, and we were talking about how bad that cable was.
I'll take that cable any day now.
We would. That is one of the best cables we've seen in the 70 cars we've worked on. And it's so funny how things that we looked at one way 3 years ago.
They look so much better now after all the crappy ones we've done since then. I mean, that truck sat a long time, make no mistake.
Yeah.
It was sitting in the woods forever, but it really wasn't that bad compared to the ones we've done since then.
I know, but at that time, we were kind of worried about buying it and bringing it back.
Yeah.
But for those of you that don't know, Richard, do you want to tell them what happened to the vehicle?
Yeah, we ended up fixing that up, getting it roadworthy, and selling it to a young couple who I think gave it to their 16-year-old son, as I remember.
Yeah, and can I add to that?
Yeah.
So earlier this summer, we found this same truck on Facebook. They had sold it, and he was asking
a lot more than
$2,000 more dollars than we sold it for,
Yeah.
and they hadn't done anything different to it.
Yeah.
So you did a good job.
Well, we knew we sold it cheap.
Yeah, we did, but it was rescued.
Yep.
And that was what was important to us.
Yep.
So the next video you're going to see, I call Red Rover, let the engine turn over. Hope you enjoy.
Oh boy.
Blown away.
I've never used a power washer on a car before, so some of this is going to be touch and go, but how can it get any worse? is not working very well. It's not what I expected. In a couple of spots, I'm blasting the paint off, which really stinks. My original plan was to soap it down, but for some reason the power washer doesn't seem to be doing it. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Mistakenly, I grabbed the super power nozzle instead of the soap nozzle. Wondering why soap didn't come out of this thing. That's more like it. So for all you people out there that think everyone on YouTube is an expert, subscribe to me. That's it. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, there's more to come. Can you believe it? Whoa! Wow. Can you believe that? It started on ether, pure ether. Oh man, I gotta hook the gas up. This is unbelievable. Come on, baby. It's running. It is running.
Is that really?
Well, it was running. Kind of sounded like I do when I first get up in the morning. It's being troublesome. All right, why don't you tell them what the problem was?
No.
So, as my partner in crime pointed out, I've used so much gas messing around, I wasn't sucking any more up. Now listen to it.
Sounds good.
All right, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that tip. Unreal. So this Rover was probably the most exotic vehicle we've done. British car imported to the US in tiny quantities with a Buick V8 from the factory and points with a weird British fuel injection.
Yeah, and that's great, but we set off 3 bug bombs in that car. We were
Power washed it.
power washed it, but we were spraying bug stuff. I mean, it took weeks before we could get enough of the bugs out of that car to even dare attempt to open the door and just sit inside of it.
Yeah.
It was probably,
gross.
it was. And the interior was so nice.
Yep.
That's what I hated about that.
We found out later that was a super low mileage car.
Yeah.
The odometer was so obscured with dirt, I misinterpreted it to be like 123,000, and I think the original number was around 23,000 miles. Yeah. Incredible, really, for a 1980.
It was, and unfortunately, when we got that, it was kind of like just when COVID recovery was, starting to pick up, but the parts you could not get.
No, it was getting parts for a British Rover is very tough in the US.
Yeah.
Very tough. And the parts I did get weren't that great quality. So we ended up selling it to a professor in Nashville who was an unbelievable British car nut.
Yes.
And I don't know what he did with it, but he certainly was excited to get it.
Yeah, I remember he said he knew all about Rovers.
Yeah, he told me things.
He had tons of friends over in Europe that he could get parts for him, and we thought, what better place for this Rover to go than to him.
Yep, that car had a clock type mechanism under the hood that would just run until a certain amount of time passed, and it would trip an emissions light for you to get the emissions checked. And the manufacturer of that clock thing under the hood, the guy had a watch on from the same company.
Really?
Yeah. Then I knew it was going to the right one.
Well, and you had, when we watched that earlier, you said that if you could do something different,
yeah,
You would have kept that car.
I would have. We had no room at the time.
Yeah.
But if I had that car today, I would keep it. I would throw out that fuel injection, get a 215 V8 4-barrel intake and a regular carburetor, and fix it and drive it.
Yeah, it actually was pretty cool looking car.
Yeah.
It was fun. And that was our second Willet Run? Third Willet Run. Third Willet Run. It's so funny to look back on ourselves. But that was our third. Now, are you ready for the next one? Yeah?
Yeah.
I call this one Wine, Trains, and Automobiles. And we'll tell you why, but first, take a look.
It's probably deeper than almost any vehicle I've rescued before. But look at that nose. There's just nothing like it. So this is the Buick 425 engine. You'll notice it says 465. That's not the cubic inches on Buicks. That's the torque value. This is all so familiar to me. It reminds me of high school. Okay, important moment here. We're going to see if the engine turns by hand. It might be stuck. Yeah, it might be stuck. All right, I'm going to see if I can get this plumber's wrench to move the engine, because I wasn't able to do it by hand. It moved. I'm going to share a story with you because so many of you share stories with me in your comments. A Buick Riviera was the second rescue I ever did. It was 1984, and my friend Dave found a 63 Riviera in Waltham, Massachusetts, behind this guy's house he was selling. It had been his pride and joy for a lot of years, but it had been sitting in the backyard forever, and in that climate in Massachusetts it was very rusty and very stuck. So we worked in his backyard for hours and hours to get the engine freed up. And every half hour or so, the guy would come out of his basement with more parts for it that he had saved over the years. And he'd come out of the basement and he'd say my friend David's name, and he had this nasally voice. He'd be like, David, David. And he kept coming out, and I never forgot it. He kept coming out with parts. Oh, beautiful. It's full and it's clean. So all good there. You know that 63 Riv I was telling you about, we did get it running eventually. We swapped the engine out. We pulled the engine out of a 63 Buick LeSabre that had been trashed in the back. And my brother drove it for a while. Will it turn over, or is the starter going to give us trouble? Even a spider's nest under the rotor, which I have not seen before. That would definitely affect the vacuum advance, because the advance springs are covered with spider web. These are the most corroded points I think I've ever seen. It's almost showtime. Uh-oh, that's not good. Float bowl's leaking all over the place. We've been here before. Okay, here goes nothing. Okay, nothing. The starter might be our undoing. There's the starter. Right up in there. On the other side of the steering linkage. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get this out of here today. We're getting the car up safely. Doesn't look it yet, but we're not finished. Once we do that, I'll be able to swap the starter out. It's really rusty in there. All right, it's going in. Unfortunately, it's starting to rain. Okay, starter's in. My helpers here kept me drier than they are, so I'm thankful for that. What do you think? Woo!
We found out about this car because we were on a wine tasting trip on an old railway.
Yeah.
And
well,
the conductor is the owner of this Buick.
Right.
And he started telling us that we were about to drive to an abandoned junkyard on the train, and she gets all excited, where's the junkyard? So he starts talking about how he has this old Buick in his backyard. He's like, whoa, antenna went up. And make a long story short, we went out there and we got this thing running.
Yep.
The most satisfying part of this was watching the guy's reaction.
When he was driving it?
Yeah, you got to see the video to see this guy's face.
Yes.
This car, what he had forever, he dated his wife in this car.
True.
And he was quite elderly. So this one was very satisfying from that perspective. We actually have two parts of it on our channel.
Yeah. And, you know, some of the things that I remember about this. We told him what we did. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
told him about our Facebook channel.
He didn't really understand
YouTube
it.
channel. He didn't know what that was. I think he really thought we were just trying to get his address to come steal his Buick, and that is the truth. We talked about that. Yeah. So we exchanged numbers, and when he went home, he talked to his son, and his son introduced him to YouTube, clicked on our channel, and they found out that we were legit. So that was pretty funny. If you haven't watched those two videos about the 64 Buick, those are definitely worth your time because there's a lot of good stuff in there.
This video we call Lost in the Tennessee Jungle.
Well, believe it or not, this is a Ford Maverick that I'm going to try to rescue. So I'm going to try to hack my way to it, all the while being mindful of the ever-present danger of copperheads. Well, that was painful, literally. I don't know what year this is, but it's at least a 73 because it's got the safety. It's a 6-cylinder. But these 6s are really good. Wow, this thing has AC. Can you imagine? The carburetor is got the typical spiders and stuff, but doesn't seem to be too bad. It's low, but it's not empty. It's a quart low and it's dirty. I mean, what do I expect? Check this out. It's not seized. Looks like 2004. You probably can't see that, but it's 2004. I'm gonna cut it down below. Family dinner's in a hurry. Oh, it's got a radio. We're gonna have to try that. See this seat? I mean, it is collapsed. It is collapsed. Maybe something really heavy sat on it for years. Lots of spiders here. Another hubcap. I don't know what happened to that headliner. Maybe an animal got in there. Oh, there's a spider. Gotta watch out for him. Gotta watch out for him right there. Okay, I'm not gonna bother him. All right, I'm gonna give it a try. First time since 2004. I don't have anything in the fuel line yet. I want to see what happens here. Wow. These Fords are unbelievable. They're unbelievable. I mean, that thing was going to idle. It's insane. This little girl is idling awesome. Awesome. Listen to that.
So what happened with this car? Because we got it running, someone was interested in vehicles on the property where this Maverick was. The owner told him, go look at the video, you'll see it run, and he bought it because of that. That Maverick would have been crushed had we not rescued it. And that's a pretty cool feeling.
Was that the first time you had to cut your way through to get to a car?
I think so. I think certainly that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one where it started so easily that my first thought was, oh no, someone's going to think this is fake.
And I knew he thought that because when I panned on his face, I could just tell he's like, oh no. They're going to say, you faked it. You faked it.
And people did.
Yeah, I know. It's just.
There was no faking.
No, we didn't expect that.
No.
And surely you saw all the cobwebs. And this is what I told Richard. They can see plainly the cobwebs everywhere, inside and out. The dirt, the leaves. I mean,
it's more of a testament to those Ford 6-cylinders than anything.
we thought about buying that Maverick.
Yeah, actually, yes, that's true. I'd forgotten about that. We actually had an arrangement to buy it. We were supposed to buy it. And just things kept dragging out, and we couldn't get the owner pinned down. And the next thing we knew, it was gone. It was sold.
Yeah. But it was rescued.
I'm glad in the end.
I am too.
I'm glad that we didn't buy it. I was just hoping a good owner got it, and he did.
Yeah, he did. Now this next video we call the rematch. Richard versus the Chevy. Take a look.
Not often that I take a second crack at these. This one I'm going to, and hopefully we have more success this time. This thing has been here since at least 82. I went to move this piece of steel grate and realized this tree had grown right up through it. Probably the first time this has been open in decades. It's rough. Okay. So girls finally moving. It's home. We've got to figure out why this thing wouldn't start almost a year ago.
This is one of those cars that really proves that I'm crazy.
You needed a car for that?
Why did I bring this thing home?
I almost feel like you should just skip that other part and just open it up.
Go right to the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks pristine.
This was parked yesterday.
Those plugs actually look great.
I know, they do.
If I put a pipe on it, I take a major chance of breaking the wrench.
I don't know, the car might start to fall apart. That yoga's really paying off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's two pieces. I never knew that.
Well, I can definitely say I never knew that. Ooh, there's some rust there.
That's very bad.
Oh, look at that.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah, big difference.
No idea what we're gonna find. Oh. What is that?
I have no idea. Oh, it's just completely rusted.
It's just rust. Nothing's moving with that lifter stuck like that. So tonight's goal is I'm going to drain the oil. It's going to be interesting anyway to see if there's any water in it. Okay, I see water.
Oh, so do I. Oh my goodness. Never seen anything like this. I may never see anything like this again.
Yeah, this is more water I think than I've ever seen. So now the fun starts.
Oh wow.
What do we got in there? That's not good.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know what that is, but that's not good. You raise the head a bit higher.
So I'm not sure how much rust is supposed to be underneath this.
None.
Oh, okay. Then there's a problem.
Very heavy rust. Very heavy rust. I just don't know how this is going to turn out, but we're going to do our best.
So is this where the old saying like watching paint dry?
Sort of. Watching acetone evaporate.
Oh, that moves.
Which way did it go?
It went towards you.
You're kidding.
No. Do it again.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Oh, it just did it again. There's no doubt.
Unbelievable.
Don't-
So this thing's coming unseized.
Yeah, just keep going.
We're about to try the starter. That sounds healthy.
A lot of work.
Yeah. We had a lot of challenges today, but tomorrow is the day we try to get this thing running. Stay tuned.
Hopefully, at the end, it will be Chevy 1, Richard 1. It will be a tie. This is like a rematch. It's our rematch with the Chevy.
It's true. Let's give this a go. See what happens.
You know what?
This was one of my favorites. It's the car, if you can see the car in the video, you can see where the car was sitting forever. It was forlorn, abandoned, just totally left behind and about to be scrapped.
Yeah.
And we got it out of there and got it home and got this thing running. And I wish I had never sold that car.
There's another one he wishes he never
I
sold.
really wish I hadn't sold it. It needed floors, but it could have been brought back. And it's still in Tennessee. It's off behind this guy's house, and you know it may sit there forever. I don't know. But that was a very, very special car. Very cool video for me. One of my most satisfying. I think one of our most satisfying.
Yeah, well, you know why I loved it? Because that was like our 40th, 41st Will It Run. And, you know, that year had really started to finally pick up knowledge about things. You know, I was picking up a little bit here, a little bit there. But I really wanted that head to come off because I'm one of those people, when I see something, it clicks and I understand it. And boy, he teased me over that. He was like, well, we're going to do that next. No, wait a minute. Let's do this first. Do you remember that? And I was like, oh, darn. And he's like, okay, I think we're ready for that part. No, wait a minute. Sorry, Christina. I think he did that on purpose.
Yeah, it's more work to pull ahead and put it back on than she's given it credit for.
Well, we have done it many times since then.
Yeah.
And I think we do that more now because we learned let's not waste 3 or 4 or 5 days.
What we've
we
learned
can
is
figure out what's wrong with it quicker.
we've learned to detect the signals that make it like you're going to have to pull ahead.
Yeah. So, but that was such a good learning experience. And the video, you have to check that video out. It is more fun than you can imagine. You really weren't sure if it was going to start.
No, I mean, we didn't know at that point if we could get it running on the amount of cylinders that we knew would fire.
I'm the optimist in our party of 2. And I said, it's going to run. I think we should have some champagne ready and waiting. I know it's going to run. And he's like, I don't know, babe. I just don't know. So we went out there because we thought, well, we'll kind of see what's going to happen. It'll probably go chug, chug, chug. And we'll know maybe it might start. And then I can run in and bring out the champagne. And believe it or not, that thing started in 60 seconds?
Didn't take too long, as I remember.
Some of the parts off of that car went to Australia.
That's right.
One of our viewers, I think David, our viewer in Australia, we sent him a couple of things up there that he needed.
That's right.
And then there were a couple of things that we needed for my 52 Chevy Lula that we took off of there. And
the transmission cooler.
And then you had listed it on Facebook, and the guy that bought it, did he specialize in 50 Chevys
He had a bunch of them, he had a bunch of them. Okay.
So, yeah, but we have his information. We've always said we were going to go visit him to look at his property. I think we need to make that happen.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see it. And the good news is you could always buy it back again.
Yep. Now we've got the room for it.
I have a feeling the black Chevy might make an appearance again. All right.
So, coming up next is an amazing one. So this one we call the Miracle.
This is my latest project. It's a 1948 Dodge Pilot House cab pickup truck. Let's check this out. Holy cow. This is a slant 6. Someone put a slant 6 in this. Probably the original engine went, which is why the head gasket's inside the cab. And somebody put a slant 6 in it. This project just got really interesting. So it's home. Tonight's goal is to get all this crap out of here and pull the valve cover. I want to see how bad it is under there. Look at that. I've never seen rust like this unless the engine was underwater. Look at this. My favorite stuff. We're going to put this in the cylinders. Well, at this point, this probably won't do anything. And I have very little hope of this engine running, but I'm going to do what I can to give it the college try of the harmonic balancer, but I don't think so. I think it just moved. It moved. That chalk mark is moving.
Okay, it did move that time.
That's great. Oh, man, look at that. All right, we got this baby unseized. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Which one is it? This one?
Yep, that's the one.
Look at that. One tap. I mean, this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. This thing was so badly seized, it was just hard to imagine. I mean, is it that? Are we really that close to trying to fire it? It is loud. Well, let's put some water in it. Run it a little longer.
Seriously?
Yeah.
One night I'm in the bathroom and Christina starts yelling, I'm gonna buy this truck on Marketplace. Right now I'm gonna buy it. It's like, wait a minute, what are you gonna buy?
Oh my goodness.
So I come out and just like on Marketplace, this crappy 48 Dodge pickup that she buys immediately. It was super cheap.
It was.
Super cheap.
Yeah.
So I think the next day,
Yeah.
I went up, we bought it sight unseen.
Yeah.
The next day I went up to look at it and I called her and I was going to tell her, no way, this thing stinks. So the cell phone connection was such that the call wouldn't go through. So I had to buy it. So I bought it, not knowing, the owner said nothing about this, that the truck had been flooded many, many times. It was kind of sitting in a little bit of a ravine, and we didn't know it, but that ravine flooded regularly, and we had no idea. So that began a journey to get this thing running.
You know, each journey starts with the one step.
Yeah, there were a lot of steps with this one.
There was.
But it was super cool because towards the end, my brother from Florida, the Florida Rustic Repairs channel, got to join us. And that made it even more special.
Mm-hmm.
And this truck ended up being sold to a classic truck guy up in Kentucky who takes cabs and puts them on newer frames. So that's probably what ended up happening in this thing.
Yeah, because honestly, that was really the only thing we're saving.
The
on
cab.
this. Yeah, I don't think that Slant 6.
No,
It was no longer a leaning tower of power. It
was an impressive engine.
It was a leaning tower of rust. But it was funny because I remember that part where he took the cover off. So you need to go watch this video. You trust me, you didn't see even a tenth of what you're just going to be amazed that I can't believe that Richard got this going. There's no way. It was a miracle from God that this thing started. But when in the video, because they have cut part of the firewall out to put this Slant 6 in, he is wrestling to get that cover off. And he hasn't really looked at what is under it. I, in the meantime, have the camera thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I am in so much trouble. When he sees this, I am never going to hear the end of this. I'm just holding the camera there, quiet as a mouse, like, how much trouble am I going to be in when he sees what's underneath there? And his expression, when he finally saw it, I captured it perfectly. He just had this look, and I just panned up like, oh, how he remained so calm. How did you remain so calm?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Challenge accepted.
I do not think I have ever seen any Will It Run or Car Channel attempt to do anything like you did.
Much less succeed.
So, but now that I think about it, most of them don't attempt half of the things we do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We take them as they come. We don't really pick them.
Yeah, no. Good or bad, work with what you got, right?
Yep. This next one, we've named Cornfield Rebuild.
Yeah.
It isn't every day that you come across a 1970 Chevelle that needs to be rescued.
This one is going to be fun. It's been sitting since 1995. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's not seized. I didn't see that. Oh, that's a souvenir right there. Good use for a corn stalk. It's full and it's green. The exhaust pipe is actually on the ground. Oh man, it stinks in there. If someone ever says the smell will knock you over, that's what they're talking about. This is how long it's been sitting here. How am I going to move this thing? something was living in the glove box. And it looks like the owner's manual might still be in there. Look at that. In case we have trouble starting it, we'll hook this up. Literally, it's so bad inside. We get this running, I can't drive it. I'm gonna see what it's like under this air cleaner. Oh yeah. Whoa! Look at him!
Hello, little mouse.
That is a first. Actually, a live mouse inside. And this thing was running super, super rich. I mean, it's just coated with carbon. See the black? The frame is on the ground. I'm gonna jack this up. It's gonna be a procedure for sure. Beautiful. That wheel is not frozen. The next step is spin it over, blow the mystery oil out of the cylinders. Moment of truth here. Let's see if it spins over. Nope. Starter. This is getting to be a Hail Mary. I'm hopeful I can do a cornfield rebuild of this starter. When I was in high school, I made a little extra money rebuilding starters for people, General Motors starters.
So did you just coin the phrase cornfield rebuild?
I did. You heard it here first. The bad thing is you can see it's been in the mud. Cornfield rebuild, part 1. Oh, look at that. That's not helping. Yeah, that's not helping. This is what's supposed to, when you kick the starter, this is supposed to engage, and this might be all screwed up. We'll see. First thing is, we got to clean that. All right, cornfield rebuild is done. I gave it my best shot. It's not working. Really thought that would do it. Really having a tough time getting the starter in. What's left of the header's in the way. It's in. Whew. Okay, the transmission lines are rotted out, so I'm just gonna run a loop so that they don't leak. Look at the holes. There's a hole every few inches. All right, ready to turn it over. We're only about 5 hours behind schedule. So we had a couple of plug wires that were eating away. So now we just gotta hook up a fuel system, get this thing fired up. Funnel fuel lines going in, patent pending. Well, it'd help if I hook the battery up. The more it runs, those valves are seating. We got 40 pounds of oil pressure. Can you believe it? Based on yesterday, it's loud because the header is rusted through on this side. But in actuality now, the engine sounds really good. All right, transmission, now that it's full, it's going into gear. Leak is fixed. So this tree is coming out. Get the jack stand out, then we're going to pull it forward. Now we're going to try to get it out of this hole.
What'd you put in there, Richard?
CD player. Beautiful. Who'd have thought? That's some cornfield engineering there. Trying out for the rowing team. Whew. Now we need another VCR. We're going to try to get it out of here. We've got a couple of bricks under this wheel, a VCR under that wheel. This mud's like glue. We just can't get it out.
It's going to gradually get restored. It won't all get done at one time.
Whew, that was fun. Now,
Yeah.
if you are watching this and you really haven't watched our videos before, I need to let you know that normally Richard and I work on viewers' cars and we assist them and help them in getting their old cars started.
Yep.
It just so happened that the first few cars of this video we'd actually purchased. We don't purchase many. Well, we used to not purchase many. That's another story. But this is one that a viewer had contacted us. We went to Illinois.
Yeah.
Small town, I think of 104.
Super small town.
Yeah, and Burl Ives came from the next town, so it's kind of famous. And
It was a beautiful spot.
it was.
I don't know if it comes through in the video, but
Oh,
the location of this car, just sky as far as you can see, surrounded by cornfields. It was an incredible spot to be working.
yeah,
It was hot.
Yeah.
And of course, mice everywhere.
The mice. Whew, yeah. You know, that's another thing you got slammed on.
What's that?
They said, why didn't you just get in that
Oh,
car and try to drive it? And why didn't you use your truck to pull it?
It wasn't my truck. It was a rental, and it was two-wheel drive, and it wouldn't have pulled that thing. But the interior of that car was just unbelievably bad.
Yeah.
The worst that I've ever experienced. The smell was dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way I was sitting in that thing.
Yeah, and you know, most recently, if you happen to watch Dalton from Pole Barn, he got sick from that.
Yeah.
So it does happen.
And it was far less bad than this one
Oh
was.
my gosh, yeah. I mean, if you look, we could see inside where the car was. Do you remember it was like inches of mouse?
Oh, everywhere.
Doo-doo. I mean, it was inches.
Everywhere. Under the hood, in the trunk, inside, in the glove box. It was everywhere. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
But it's all cleaned up now.
Yeah, it's all cleaned up now. And, boy, those good memories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good memories. And one of the things that I said in the video that I got slammed for was, I am really glad we have to go into town to go to the parts store because we have been here for 5 hours and I really need to go to the bathroom. And the comments slammed me. Why didn't you go pee in the cornfield? Why didn't you go pee? And I'm thinking, what? Yes, you cannot see a house anywhere around.
Other than the abandoned farmhouse next to it, there was nothing
That was
there.
where his family had owned that farmhouse forever.
Yeah.
And you could not go inside the farmhouse because it had been overtaken with raccoons. And so I was told I couldn't go in there. And people saw an unknown truck outside of the house. And so I think word spread.
Yeah.
And what happened?
People started coming by.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was one funny thing about this is that the owner was a really cool guy. But supposedly there was a train derailment there nearby in the past, some kind of circus train or something. And one of the wild animals got loose. So there was supposedly in the cornfield this killer tiger or something somewhere. We never saw it, luckily.
No, wasn't that an old movie? I don't know. But then again, another reason I'm not going to go to the bathroom in the cornfield. It was just a fun time. It was just one of those things where you just laugh.
Yeah, that was a great time. And that car now is getting restored.
Mm-hmm.
The owner has had the interior completely replaced, which it desperately needed. And as far as I know, he's working on the body now.
And now you know, if we ever reference a cornfield or a cornfield rebuild, now you know where it came from.
Yep.
Now, this next video we like to call
The Haunted Car.
Don't know that I'll be tackling this one. Maybe for a future day. This is the rear of the Granada. It's buried. It is buried, of course. Well, that looks good. I mean, somebody put 3 layers of rags over this. So they wouldn't have done that unless there was a good reason, like this engine was still good. Oh man, can you believe it? No carburetor. Sitting out here forever. Look at this. What do you think? Should we put a battery in this and see if it'll spin over? It's got oil in it. I mean, why not? So I found this on the front seat. Carburetor tune-up kit. That looks like the rebuild kit for the carb that belongs on this car. Yeah, the key's in it. Wow. Luxurious. Oh, wow. Look at that carpet. Something I hate doing is opening the trunk, but look at this. The key is actually in the trunk. Oh, look at that snakeskin. Oh, man. Wow. Because if the lights come on, then we'll know we're getting electricity to the wiring harness. Holy cow. The radio's on. Look at this. This speaker in the back's making noise, and there's a light. And I think I know why nothing's working. I can't test the headlights, but there's definitely voltage to the car, which tells me the starter must be stuck. This thing is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, when I gotta walk back to get tools, it's quite a walk. Whoa! And I've shown you this already. This is the distributor wiring. So as far as the wiring goes, I think we're good to go. So the next step is the carb. All right, we're gonna try to see if this thing has spark. Holy cow, I think that fired. Don't you think that fired?
Scared me. I don't know.
Did you see any? I can smell it.
No, I was too scared and closed my eyes.
I can smell it. That fired. That's impossible. That is not possible. Smell it?
Mhm.
That fired. I guess it's got spark. There's no carburetor. There hasn't been a carburetor on it for who knows how long, decades, and it fired. I guess I have a hell of an ignition system here. It seems like every one of these videos I say, I've never seen that before. But I haven't. I haven't. It's like this thing ran yesterday. It actually fired. I'm probably going to say that 100 more times and irritate you guys. That is the most gross smell of burning something and oil and chainsaw gas and who knows what else. That was awesome. Unreal.
Some weird stuff happened with this thing. First off, the location. Literally, I don't know how the car got there. It's like it was dropped out of a helicopter into this area where there's no road. The closest thing to it is a cornfield. And it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see a vehicle like this and my first thought is, nope, not going to do it. Not going to waste my time with it. This was one of those cars. I popped the hood, no carburetor, all four flats, just in the middle of nowhere. Everything that I brought there, I'd have to carry by hand. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. But you know, I'll tell you something. I'm so glad that we did that car. It was fantastic. Absolutely a fantastic experience. We call that the haunted car because weird stuff happened there. You saw how it fired with no fuel, no nothing. All I did was I used a little carb cleaner to clean the base under the carburetor. And I guess that was enough to make it fire. And then while we're sitting there, some weird smoke starts to come up through not the carb base, but next to it through some kind of passage. And the weirdness of the area, I think when I left you alone at one point, you were hearing noises or something like that there.
Yeah, and that's the last time I let him leave me out there. Don't forget, the radio just randomly started.
Yeah.
That was creepy. But yeah, so that one time you had to go back to the car, and it was a long walk.
Yeah.
When you left, I was just, this feeling of fear came over me, and I could hear things. And so I just start the camera running because I'm thinking, if I die, hopefully it'll get recorded and they'll know what happened to me. But you said it made you uneasy. You had an uneasy.
Totally. One of we took 2 or 3 trips there, I think, to get that running. And one of the trips I was by myself, and it was freaky to be out there literally in the middle of nowhere working on this thing. But it was cool. Unfortunately, we're not sure, but we believe this car ended up getting scrapped.
Yeah.
I was going to buy it, and a week or 2 before I went to get it, the owner had it scrapped. Didn't tell me ahead of time.
Well, he didn't actually say he had it scrapped.
He didn't, but
He just
I'm
said
pretty sure.
He had sold it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a scrap guy.
Or,
that got it.
I don't know. Maybe it just disappeared.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, he didn't know
He
it
didn't
was
know it was there.
there. Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe it was a ghost car. Could have been.
Yeah, it was cool though. It's a video worth watching.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm glad that car was not there because I think I remember telling you, if you bring that Granada home, I'm gonna have to go stay with the girls until you get the Granada fixed. and out of here because I didn't want that thing at the house. No. So, but this was another car. It didn't belong to us. And I'm glad. So the next video, we went to help one of our viewers, and we like to call this video Tornadoes and Chickens. Take a look.
It is a 54 Chevy pickup truck. Hopefully it's not seized. I'm gonna put it in neutral. Oh man, it's really tight. It is really tight. Okay, I'm gonna have to put some mystery oil in the cylinders in this thing. Nothing stuck. I don't see any stuck valves. Yeah, that's all great. Yeah, it's stuck. All right, so I just took the flywheel cover off, and look at that. Great access to the flywheel. See that? So what I'm going to try to do is use the flywheel to help unstick the engine. Oh, great. It's unseized, guys. Well, the weather is scheming to stop us, but I'm not going to let it because it's storming quite a bit, but we've got a little break, so I'm going to try to get the oil changed in this break. We're going to get this nice and clean, drop the filter in, and be done. Sit anywhere. Just kind of hangs out in the middle, right? Does that look right? Not to me. This gasket doesn't appear to be right. It's leaking. Oh, that's a bummer. Next step is get this master cylinder out of here. Master cylinder's in. Now we're gonna bleed the brakes. Okay, we wondered why we couldn't get any air out of this wheel. This is the bleeder valve. There's a hole where the brake fluid's supposed to come out when it's open, and there's supposed to be a hole on the side here that the brake fluid goes through. No hole. Lots of rust, but no hole. Not as badly, but it's still leaking. That is a bummer. That's a major bummer. Pretty much puts us out of business. It is day 2 back at the 54 Chevy truck. I have created a gasket out of gasket material. Beautiful! All right. Working. So this truck was referred to us by one of our viewers. It was sitting in the person's yard for quite some time, and he really wanted to get it running, get it driving, but it was nowhere close to it. So we worked on it amidst unbelievable storm that I wish we got it on film. The thunder was so loud that the garage next to the truck was shaking. And there were chickens all over the place.
And they were relentless.
Yeah.
They would just come up probably this close to his head under the truck, and they were everywhere, and they were not scared of people.
No, they were cool. But it was super satisfying to have the owner of the truck be able to drive it. It just was such a great feeling. And it's a neat truck. It's a 9-foot bed pickup truck, and it had the low gear and the 4-speed and all that. Just a cool rig to check out.
Yeah. Now, I will say that when we changed that, when you changed the oil in that oil canister, we have a rule now.
We try not to disturb those canisters anymore.
No.
We've done, I don't know, maybe since then 4 of those canister oil changes, and every single one of them leaks. I'm not sure what in the world it is, but we have such a hard time getting a quality gasket today that will hold in those canisters. We don't touch them unless we have to. This next one proves that at the time I knew zero about tractors, and I mean zero. I didn't even know where the brakes were. And boy, did I hear it in the comments. Even though I said I know nothing about tractors, I got slammed in the comments, but rightly so.
I like to call this one Green Acres.
We have this 1950, maybe 51, 52 Ford 8N tractor. One thing you always got to be careful about out here in the wilderness is finding snakes. And I just found one. These things came out in 48, the Model 8N. It was a successor to the 9N and the 2N. And how that math works, I don't know. Now that's a bolt. Hey there, what do you think of this tractor? Start taking the hood off, I found a toolbox with this old distributor cap, a mouse house, and some other stuff. What is that? Looks like a points and distributor kit. Insert $6 million man noise. All right, super important moment of truth. Is this thing seized? The little 4-cylinder, it should crank pretty easy. Oh, it's not seized at all. Look at that. Yeah. Success is nearly ours. I'm going to bypass the solenoid and go right 12 volts to the starter and see what happens. The points are sparking fantastic now.
The gas is pouring right on the carb
Oh, it is?
at the bottom. Well, you're gonna have to take it apart.
Not necessarily.
No.
Boy, it wants to go. I think we've got it running enough to go with the auxiliary tank. I mean, it's gonna go now.
Have you ever seen that show Green Acres?
All right, we got carb trouble. We have carb trouble. We took the carb apart, cleaned it up. That sounded pretty good, didn't it?
Yeah, I haven't heard it sound like that before.
No. We're getting too much movement in the dwell when this thing runs, and I think that's throwing it off. So I pulled the distributor, and look at this. Look at that movement. So I have this new distributor. Oh, it's in.
Yeah.
It's in.
That was a journey. This was a video that did not reflect the amount of work and frustration that went into this tractor. It started fairly quickly, and then that was it. It wouldn't start, and when it did, it ran terrible, and I was literally pulling my hair out.
For many, many weeks.
It was a hard to find problem. You know, it was the distributor shaft was all worn out. And that's not something I always check for, especially when the engine runs. But this one had weird problems, like the firing order was messed up, and of course the carb was leaking, all kinds of things. But it was satisfying to see it driven in the end.
Yeah, it's funny because you can actually see in the video, you see the seasons kind of change. Then when we get there, there's no leaves on the trees. And at the end, the trees are full of green leaves. They've bloomed. I mean, it is just, you go through a whole season change almost. Now, how many times did you do a happy dance?
Too many.
Because you thought, it's done, I finally got it, woo!
Success is nearly ours. No. Wrong. Wrong.
Oh, that was so funny. The reason that we called it Green Acres, of course, if you haven't seen this, you should go back and watch it because it is a fantastic well-run video. There's part of the video where I say Have you ever seen that show, Green Acres? Well, it feels like that. If Richard gets on a tractor, I'm not sure what's going to happen. You know what happened? 9 months later, we left the city, we moved to the country, and we bought a tractor. So, there you go. But the person that owned that tractor, he is actually using that tractor.
Yeah,
on
he's still
property.
got it. Yeah, he's still got it.
So, happy ending for the tractor.
Yep.
So, well, that's it for today, but not to worry because I am working on some more and hopefully we'll have that out in a couple of days because our dear Richard here has been spending the last few weeks getting ready because he's becoming a volunteer firefighter here in our small town. And, well, we just haven't had the time to, you know, go to the Tennessee jungle or, you know, go looking for cars infested with bugs, you know, all the stuff that we do now. So I wanted to make something fun for you that you can enjoy until we are ready to get back into it. I'm very proud of you, sweetheart.
Thank you. And I'm very close to finishing, so we will be back at it very soon.
Yes. Make sure that you look for that second video. It will be out Thursday in just a few days. And then join us for live chat on Saturday, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, because we are going to be giving away some fantastic gifts. I'm going to ask you questions from the 2 videos that we released this week, and that is how viewers are going to win the fabulous gifts that we have. Why don't you tell them about what we have?
Yeah, so it will be a YouTube live session, and we have t-shirts to give away. We have a stick welder to give away, brand new. We have a brand new jump box to give away. And we'll find some other stuff in the meantime. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We love doing these giveaways, and hopefully you do too.
So until then, have a great week. And we look forward to talking to many of you Saturday.
Yeah. See you Saturday.